Daniel 4, Nebuchadnezzar the king, to all peoples, Goyim and languages that dwell in all the Arets. Peace be increased to you. I thought it good to declare the signs and wonders which the Highest One Allah has worked for me. How great are His signs, and how mighty His wonders. His reign is an everlasting reign, and His rulership is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my house, and prospering in my palace. I saw a dream, and it frightened me, and the thoughts on my bed and the visions of my head alarmed me. So I issued a decree to bring in all the wise ones of Babel before me, to make known to me the interpretation of the dream. So the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the diviners came in, and I related the dream to them, but its interpretation they did not make known to me. And at last Daniel, whose name is Belteshazzar, according to the name of my Allah, came before me. In him is the Ruach of the Kodesh Allah. So I related the dream to him, saying, Belteshazzar, chief of the magicians, because I know that the Ruach of the Kodesh Allah is in you, and no secret is too difficult for you, explain to me the visions of my dream that I have seen and its interpretation. Now the visions of my head on my bed were these. I looked and saw a tree in the midst of the Arets, and its height great. The tree became great and strong, and its height reached to the Shamayim, and it was visible to the ends of all the Arets. Its leaves were lovely, and its fruit plenty, and in it was food for all. The beasts of the field found shade under it, and the birds of the Shamayim dwelt in its branches, and all flesh was fed from it. In the visions of my head on my bed I looked and saw a watcher, even a Kodesh one, coming down from the Shamayim. He cried aloud and said this, Hew down the tree and cut off its branches, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the beasts flee from under it, and the birds from its branches, but leave the stump of its roots in the Arets, even with a band of iron and bronzy in the tender grass of the field. And let it be wet with the dew of the Shamayim, and let his portion be with the beasts on the grass of the Arets. Let his heart be changed from man's, let him be given the heart of a beast, and 7 times pass over him. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the command by the word of the Kodesh ones, so that the living know that the Highest One is ruler in the reign of men, and gives it to whomever he wishes, and sets over it the lowest of men. This dream have I seen, I, King Nebuchadnezzar, and you, Belteshazzar, reveal its interpretation, since all the wise ones of my reign are unable to make known to me the interpretation. But you are able, for the Ruach of the Kodesh Allah is in you. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was stunned for a short time, and his thoughts alarmed him. The king responded and said, Belteshazzar, do not let the dream or its interpretation alarm you. Belteshazzar answered and said, My Aduni, the dream is to those who hate you, and its interpretation to your enemies. The tree you saw, which became great and strong, whose height reached to the Shamayim, and was visible to all the Arets, whose leaves were lovely and its fruit plenty, and in it was food for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and on whose branches the birds of the Shamayim sat. It is you, O king, for you have become great and strong, and your greatness has grown, and has reached to the Shamayim, and your rulership to the end of the Arets. And as the king saw a watcher, even a Kodesh one, coming down from the Shamayim, and he said, Hew down the tree, and destroy it, but leave the stump of its roots in the Arets, even with a band of iron and bronze in the tender grass of the field. And let it be wet with the dew of the Shamayim, and let his portion be with the beasts of the field, till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, king, and this is the decree of the Highest One, which has come upon my Aduni the king, that you are going to be driven away from men, and your dwelling be with the beasts of the field, and you be given grass to eat like oxen, and you be wetted with the dew of the Shamayim, and 7 times pass over you, till you know that the Highest One is ruler in the reign of men, and that he gives it to whomever he wishes, and they that gave the command to leave the stump of its roots of the tree. Your reign remains yours from the time you come to know that the Shamayim are ruling. Therefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable to you, and break off your sins by obedience, and your lawlessnesses by showing favor to the poor. Your prosperity might be extended. All this came upon King Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of the 12 months he was walking about the palace of the reign of Babel. The king spoke and said, Is not this great Babel, which I myself have built, for the house of the reign, by the might of my power and